So why couples? Let's go back to Shuang Shou, dual cultivation, where these ancient arts were practiced in monastic living. So the monks valued one another as peers. Now, when we look at this practice and we look at our partnership, we can say, well, I value you and this opportunity, and I'm grateful for this partnership because now I can continue to grow and learn and cultivate. And so with couples, you have two people that are uh, on their life's path, and now these life paths come into union to make one life path. So there's a lot that needs to be harmonized there, right? In traditional Chinese medicine, we talk about the concept of prevention and creating the conditions for the lack of illness, robust health, so that disease doesn't arise, illness doesn't arise, and if any symptoms arise, we know how to address it, and we can easily rebalance. Similar to the partnership, we want to prevent tension, strife, conflict, and mitigate those, and understand and see the symptoms when they arise.
I think I hear you two saying two different things. And the first is that the partner is there to help the other one grow. And that's part of the rule traditionally in partner practice
Mhm.
in Tai Chi Chuan, which is kind of the root of what we're doing for couples now.
Yep.
And I want to relate that to, again, the challenge zones. Um, and um, I used to work at a challenge course. Actually, we both did. But you have kind of learning zones that start with when you think about the ability to learn, you there are different zones that you could be residing in. And the central zone is your comfort zone, where nothing's really difficult, everything is easy and comfortable, familiar, nothing is really challenging. And then outside that circle is a challenge zone, and it's also called the growth zone or the learning zone. Um, because if you're always in your comfort zone, you're not really experiencing anything new. You're not extending yourself, you're not rising up to challenges. So you can't just always stay there on your comfortable couch doing the usual things that you do, and you probably won't experience too much learning or growth. But if you extend yourself out into this challenge zone, then you're going to be kind of like at your edge and encountering new situations and experiencing learning. There's another ring outside of that, which is the panic zone, which you don't want to be in it because learning is no longer happening. Panic could be, where you experience trauma, negative experiences, and learning does not happen in that zone either. Um, the challenge zone, one is able to enter the challenge zone when one is feeling safe. That's one of the ultimate requirements. And so, on a challenge course, a ropes course, you might have heard of it mentioned as a ropes course. Part of that safety comes from safety procedures, harnesses, and other things that keep one safe, emotionally,
Methodology.
yeah, emotionally safe as well. But in a couple situation, the intimate relationship is one in which you feel safe. And I think that's why that answers one of the questions as to why couples, because you're ultimately with your life partner who you are comfortable feeling the most vulnerable with. And therefore, they are the ones who is most capable of helping you into your challenge zone. You can access this learning zone if you feel safe. And so, having a good partner in this path is really important to allow you to venture out into that place where you're going to be doing your best learning. And the great news about it is that as you encounter more and more challenges and you learn more, your zones expand out. So your comfort zone actually starts to grow, and then your challenge zone starts to get pushed out and grow also, and that that panic zone gets pushed further and further out, and so you're able to reside in a wider range of life and life experiences, because of that growth, and that your partner is able to help you access that.
Not only that, life throws you challenges. So building the resistance to be able to, or and the resilience to be able to meet life together through those challenging life experiences is part of the practice. And then lastly, what I'll say is when you start to experience, and even in the first exercise, the first movement, you'll see that trust is the foundation for which all of this is built and founded upon. And you could say that this is a journey toward cultivating trust, a deep, profound trust, not just for one another, but for the universe and the grand beyond.
I love how you use that word resistance too, because that'll come up, and we talk about resistance training, but ultimately that gives you some kind of feedback, uh, and an understanding, like a reference point for you to understand yourself a little bit better
Yeah.
too. So, and we'll be using that word more as we move
Resistance,
along.
resistance, pressure, load, those are all things that that the body feels when it's in a learning zone or even approaching panic zone. Yeah.
Yeah, when the body is challenged, right? The mind is challenged.
Mhm.
And so it's in these exercises, it's the partner's job to provide that, um, at the right amount, so that you can stay in your learning zone and not enter the panic zone. So the goal is not to move too far past that and to really reside.
You'll start to see how you can listen and attune to the yin and yang exchange.
Yeah. Let's see. Do we have anything more to add to this section?
I think we're ready to turn the page.
Shall we turn the page? All
Let's
right,
do
let's
it.
do it.